Hello there, Pisces. Glad to see you all here today. Your very first card is already dropped, but we're going to keep shuffling. These are going to be, or this is the forecast for you for July of 2020. My apologies for getting this out late. This is going to be an in-depth forecast. I literally decided on June 30th that instead of doing weeklies, I wanted to shift over and start doing monthlies. I didn't want to wait till August. I wanted to start this month, but I was not really considering how much energy and effort I was going to be putting into these longer monthly videos where I go into much more detail than I was in the weeklies. And so I'm a lot farther behind than what I expected. I do have some things coming up this month, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be completely ahead by August, but I should be a lot closer to being on time for August, and then hopefully by September I will be back on track completely again. So anyway, that's what's going on with timing. My apologies that we missed a whole 11 days by the time I got this together and got it out to you. But things will be happening in a more timely manner in the future. And let's put the rest of your cards down. Now, if you guys don't want to witness me shuffling and putting cards down, I have no problem with that. You guys can, fast forward into the next part of the video. That'll save you some time, definitely. But I do leave this part in the videos, excuse me, just because there are people who do like to witness the shuffle and the lay down of the cards. So, like I said, you can zoom past this if you would like. But it is going to remain in the video. La da 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 da. Okay, so Pisces, what we are looking at right now is July 12th through the 18th. We are going to start with looking at your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most people, it's going to be home, especially with the corona thing that has been going on now. But it doesn't have to be home. I have had clients tell me, oh, that's work, or oh, that's school. So you just want to be a little bit more open about where your environment might be. Like I said, it's any place where you have energy or effort invested. So Pisces, what we're looking at for this first time period is a situation that is a very traditional style home, basically, but you may be feeling a little left out. You may be feeling like, even though it's a traditional style home, you may be feeling a little bit lonely in that traditional style home, but things are going well in this environment. I think things are going well. So it may be that maybe this isn't about you being lonely, actually. No, it's not. I want to take that back. We've got the card that would talk about being a little bit left out or lonely. It's actually in reverse. So this talks about not being lonely. You may have company coming in. You may have company coming in. And for some of you, this is a traditional style environment, but for some of you, company is coming in because there's a wedding in the works. And so company's coming in. Things are going very smoothly. Things are going pretty happy in your home. But definitely, if you don't have a wedding in the works, you do have company coming in. Things are going very smoothly with that visit when your company comes in, and you have a traditional style of home or a traditional style of family in the home. A traditional, well, let me quit saying home, a traditional environment, okay? All right, there's that. Some of you have a traditional environment, and some of you have company coming in because of a wedding, but all of you have company coming into your home during the time frame from the 12th to the 18th, Pisces. All right, let's look at your subconscious leanings between the 12th and the 18th. It does look like you have a situation that you thought you would work with somebody else, but that collaboration has sort of fallen through. And so it looks like this is going to be a project that you work on more by yourself. And this is something that your subconscious leanings are working on. And I don't think that you really like the idea of working on this by yourself. You're feeling like you don't have all the information that you need to actually do this thing that you were going to collaborate with somebody else on. And I think with your subconscious, what you're doing is you're looking for somebody else to collaborate with. I think you're looking at, you know what, I still want to do this. I still want to accomplish this. I just don't know if I can do this without the person I was originally going to collaborate with. And since they're not here, I'm going to have to find somebody else that has their skills that they can bring to the table so that we can get this accomplished and complete and done. So that's subconscious leanings. That's what you're working on with your subconscious. Now, next thing I'm looking at talks to me about your learning style as we go through the 12th to the 18th. And it looks to me like you are definitely picking up information. It's coming through very clear to you. It's making a good solid impression. You're going to be remembering this information for a long time. Some of the information that you're finding out about may have been secret, may have been occult, may have been information that other people were not expecting you to pick up on or to find out. And a lot of this information does have to do with feelings or with emotions, or you're picking it up because of feelings or emotions that are drawing you to study this or to research this or to dig for this information. Okay? Now, as far as your communication style, I do believe that in a lot of instances during this time frame from the 12th to 18th, you are taking control of any interactions going on as far as communication. You are bringing in the truth, you're bringing in some facts, and you're cutting out the BS. If somebody's trying to come to you with some kind of BS, you're just not having it. You're just not having it, and I don't think that's up for debate at all. At all. And I do think that, I think there's somebody around you that comes at you with a lot of BS. And I think that as you're not up for the BS, I think that they are going to end up, the only word that comes into mind, and it's not really the one I want, but is they're going to end up feeling injured. Like you're gonna say, you know what, I know that's not true. Why are you saying such things to me? And they're going to be like, well, wait, what? Why don't you think they're true? You know, and they're used to you. I really feel like Pisces, they're used to you just going, yeah, okay, and not really saying anything. You know, they're not used to you actually confronting and saying, look, I know the truth, and the truth is this. Why are you trying to tell me that? It doesn't work. They're not used to that, and so they're going to feel injured or hurt because they're used to you just letting them get away with saying whatever the heck they want, and you just kind of go with the flow. So when you start being real and trying to keep the whole thing real, they don't know what to do with that. They're not used to operating in the real. They like their little illusions and deceptions to be out there. They're just as happy deceiving themselves as they are anybody else. Well, Pisces, we're certainly starting off interestingly here. Let's look next at work. So let me explain to you. Work for me means two completely different things, and we're going to look at it both ways. There's outer work, which to me is that way that you make a living or those things that you do to feel like you're productive in the community. And there's also inner work, which is working on ourselves, improving on our own character to be more satisfied with who we are when we look in the mirror. So that's inner work for me. So we've got inner work and outer work. We're going to start with outer work, Pisces. It looks like you have quit some kind of job or some kind of position. I think there was a lot of disappointment with that job or with that position, but you're not really paying attention to that disappointment. You're not focusing on it. You're not wallowing on it. What you are focusing on is the opportunities that are in front of you. And when I say I think you have quit, I think that you actually will be quitting between July 12th through 8th, unless, whenever I'm giving a time frame and I'm talking about it, my tenses don't always come out of my mouth right, but we are talking about that time frame, and I've usually got it in the corner of the video too. So you should know that when you hear me. And the only time that we wouldn't be talking about the time frame in the corner of the video is if I say it doesn't look like this is happening just yet. There is a delay. But other than that, or if I say it looks like this happened previously. But other than that, no matter what tenses I use, you should assume that I'm talking about the time period that's in the upper corner there. Anyway, let's get back to this. So you've walked away from some kind of job or position or opportunity. And because there was disappointment there, it wasn't what you expected it to be or what you needed it or wanted it to be. But you're not, like I said, you're not wallowing in this. You're not focusing on that. What you are focusing on is the other opportunities that are available to you. And I do think not only are you walking away from something at some point between the 12th through the 18th, I think you're also starting something totally, completely brand new. You have an opportunity to start something totally and completely brand new when it comes to work, and that's what you're doing. Starting it as a leap of faith, seeing where it goes. And for a lot of you, you may be traveling away from the city or away from the town where you live to start this new opportunity. La da da da. Next thing that we're looking at is going to be inner work. What do we have going on for inner work? I think your inner work really right now, it looks to me like, is you're focusing on paying attention to your intuition and not letting your ego get the best of you. You're focusing, I think a lot of you Pisces are focusing on figuring out what's the difference between what your ego sounds like and what your intuition sounds like, and really trying to get that down. And that's an important skill to get down. And that's inner work. Inner work for the 12th through the 18th. Okay, Pisces, next up, we're going to look at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Right now being the 12th through the 18th. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Okay, so Pisces, you have a person who is in your life, maybe even more than one, who cares about you greatly, maybe is in love with you, definitely loves you. The problem is they have some kind of unhealthy habit, behavior, and I think you guys have been going back and forth about, you know, I need you to become a more healthy person. I need you to really focus on this. And they're not making any changes. And so where you're growing and expanding is in figuring out, okay, how do I cope with the idea that this person isn't making the changes that I know would be so helpful? And actually they know it too, but they're terrified. But you have to figure out, how am I going to cope with this? How am I going to cope with this? That's where you're being grown or expanded, and finding those ways to cope with that situation. You know, do you walk away from the situation? Do you find other ways to support this person? Are there other ways to support this person, you know? Do you stay there and nag at the person? What do you do? Do you hire a security guard to make sure that person doesn't make bad choices? You know, you're just learning, how do you cope with this situation? All right? By the way, that's a perfect thing to get a reading on. Perfect type of thing to get a reading on. La da da. Pisces, next thing that we're looking at are those things that you stand for. So Pisces, it looks to me like you used to have some kind of issue at some point too, where you were obsessive about something or where you were addicted to something, but you have for the most part beat that and put that in your past. And it looks to me like by putting that in your past, you've actually decreased the stress level that was in your life by a lot. By a lot. And it feels like to me, having somebody around you that has a similar problem right now, which is what's going on right now, is hard on you. It takes a lot of your energy and a lot of your effort to be able to focus on you and keeping yourself okay and to try to be there for that other person. And things are starting to fall through the cracks here. I'm a little worried about this because it looks like things are starting to fall through the cracks here. And I think somebody is actually confronting you about this idea that, hey, you know, people, places, and things, man, what are you doing? And you're having to defend. You're having to say, well, I'm doing this because da-da-da-da-da, and I don't see any other way, and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so you're defending yourself here. All right. How this other person sees you, this other person that sees things falling through the cracks and is concerned about you, they see you as somebody who, that you really didn't have plans to do it, but that you've walked back into a bad situation, and that you're feeling like after walking into this bad situation, you're definitely defending that. You're defending that action, and really nobody can say anything to you about this right now. That's how they feel about you. Obviously, they're very concerned. It's coming up as they're being very concerned about you right now. Okay. All right, let's look at what I call the pivot point. This is the point during the time frame where things start to go in a different direction than what they have. Okay. So pivot point for you for July 12th through the 18th. There's something going on here where you're not as successful as you had hoped to be with a situation. And I think that you are coming to terms of acceptance in terms of forgiving. And I think you're forgiving somebody else for, I think you feel like what it is that you're feeling like has failed is something that, first of all, you couldn't do alone. This is something that, it took multiple people. It took at least 2 people to hope to make this thing successful. And there's another person that really sabotaged it. I feel like this person does a lot of self-sabotage anyway, but they also sabotage this thing that you guys were working on together. And I think that you're coming to a point where you're accepting that this is, I'm hearing you say this is the best that person could do. And I'm hearing you also that, you're coming to this point of acceptance. You are forgiving. You are letting it go. You are letting it go. But I don't feel like you're going to be able to forget this. A lot of people say forgive and forget. Well, you know what? Forgiving is a lot of work. I don't know that forgetting is really reasonable or feasible. And in this case, I don't see you forgetting. I do see you forgiving. I do see you feeling like the other person did the best they could. And so I see forgiveness in there. I just don't necessarily see you wanting to be in a situation that's similar so that they can shoot it down again, is what I'm saying. Whether they shoot it down intentionally or unintentionally. Either way. Okay, so what is going on at the same time? You may actually be moving at the same time that this basically sense of defeat is coming up and forgiveness. You may be moving. You don't have to be all out moving, but you're definitely doing something in a different location if you're not actually moving. And the reason you're doing something in a different location is because you have realized that there's somebody who has not been loyal to you in some way. And I think this is somebody that you care about that has been disloyal. So this might have to do with a romantic situation for some of you. For others of you, this could be somebody that is connected with a work project or a hobby that you feel really passionate about. But this person that you were working with for this has just kind of wandered off and is focused on other things right now. And so I think that you're doing something in a different location because of this person wandering off. Now, what else is going on at the same time that you're feeling defeated but accepting that that's the best the other person could do? You have a choice coming up. You have a choice coming up about finding some happiness. There are different ways in front of you to find happiness. And I think that, remember I said that I think you're going to forgive, but I don't think you're going to forget. I think that whatever this choice is that comes up for you to find happiness, I don't think you're going back to that old situation where somebody let you down and where you were feeling defeated. I think you're finding happiness in other ways. And I don't think that it's going back to work. But I don't believe you're working things out with this person. But you are finding happiness, and you have choices about how to do that. They just don't involve the other person. La da da da. Happiness and success. So if it was a business thing, you're still finding success. There are other options. If it's a romantic thing, you're still finding happiness. Okay, let's look at what's going on once we get to the end of the week, Pisces. You could definitely be moving. This comes up again as a possibility. Once we get to the end of the week, you still could be moving away from what you consider to be your home. It does look like if you're moving, this is a very positive thing. You're manifesting what you want here. You're definitely changing situations that you're in. You're getting away from a dramatic situation into something that's a lot more calm, a lot more peaceful. If that means, that you're moving away from home to do that, then so be it. That could be what's happening. But I think really what's happening is that you are moving away from a situation that was negative, that was drama-filled, that was holding you back. And you are manifesting a new place for yourself that is much more calm, much more peaceful, and just feels very comfortable to you. You don't have other people's energy floating around and mucking it up and cluttering it up. It just feels very comfortable and empowering for you to be in this new place that you've manifested by the end of the week there, Pisces. Okay, so that's the 12th through the 18th. I'm going to take a little break, and then when I come back, we'll look at the next section of July. I hope you guys are finding this helpful. Hello again, Pisces. We are back, and this time we're going to be looking at the time frame of July 19th through the 25th and see what comes up for you. Like I said earlier, if you want to go ahead and scroll past, that's the word I was looking for earlier. If you want to go ahead and scroll past all this shuffling and card putting down, that's totally fine with me. I get it. It will stay as a part of the video though, because some people do feel like they're a little bit more secure if they witness all of that. So okay, let's see what we have for the second time frame, Pisces. What we're looking at first is your environment. Okay, so it seems like there's something going on in your environment where you really are not in control of the situation, and it feels like there are people around you who are really getting on your nerves, maybe even doing some backstabbing, some gossiping. Just depending how big this energy is for your particular case for each of you, Pisces. But definitely somebody in your environment, at the very least, just jumping up and down on your nerves. Like I said, it looks to me like you're feeling like you're not in control of what's going on in your environment. And it looks like also you are definitely digging for some information here. You're trying to understand What is going on? How come you're not in control? What are these people saying about you? Definitely digging for information about what's going on with these people who are supposed to be your friends or your colleagues, who are jumping up and down on your last nerve, let's say that. Okay? Now, let's look at subconscious leanings. All right. All right, Pisces. And your subconscious, it looks like there was some situation where you poured out your heart. You told somebody how you were feeling about something, or you told them your plans or your secrets. You told them some of your innermost stuff that you don't have to share with other people, but you did. You made yourself vulnerable in this. And it looks like that person was not the person that you thought they were. And as soon as you shared this information with you, I think they went and shared it with other people. That may be what we saw in your environment earlier, about somebody getting on your last nerve or talking behind your back. And it looks like this is a situation that you didn't want shared with other people. You actually trusted this person. And so this is a heartbreaking situation whenever this information is shared with somebody else. And so your subconscious really is working on, oh my gosh, like, how do I prevent this from ever happening again? And also, how do I recover from this? How do I do damage control? And how do I personally recover from this? Okay. Definitely some deep emotions going on. Of course, Pisces, we are water signs. I'm a Scorpio, so deep emotions are kind of always going on anyway, right? For us water signs. Next, I'm looking at learning style and also communication style when it comes to you, Pisces, during the time frame from the 19th to the 25th. There is some information that you really do want. You are enthusiastically looking for this information. Maybe even a better would be aggressively looking for this information. Unfortunately, there's a lot of confusion coming out of your search for information here. And so there's a little bit of nice solid information coming out, but I think you're just getting hints of nice solid information. Most of it is coming out to be confusing to the point that it's even unusable. You can't make heads or tail of it to take any kind of action on it. Now, as far as your communication style, we've got some kind of dark things coming up here, Pisces, for communication style. You may actually be threatening somebody right now, or giving somebody an ultimatum that may or may not actually be reasonable at the moment. But there's interesting things going on, because where you're threatening or giving ultimatums to somebody, for somebody else, there's a lot of communication going on, and you're really passing along good, helpful information to them. I think that the person that you're threatening or you're giving ultimatums to, I think that energy is lightening up as you go through the week. I don't see it going completely light. Like, there still is some negative energy about the way that you're communicating with them, but you are starting to communicate some good things as well. But there's just a lot of confusion around what you're learning and what's coming in, and that's making it really hard for you to communicate good solid things, because you don't have the information that you need to make decisions that you need to make to move forward. And that makes, how can you communicate about what you're doing in the future if you really don't understand what's going on in the present? This is all stuff that would point me straight to a reading when it starts happening. I would be like, I remember my favorite reader said this. It's time for me to get a reading and see what I need to do with this situation. How's this going to pan out? What exactly is going on for me? That's what I would be doing. Just saying. Next thing we're going to look at is work. And if you remember from before, work is two ways. We're going to look at outer work first and then inner work as well. So, outer work does look like there's somebody that is not around that you're used to having around at work. Maybe they have traveled to a different location to work, or maybe they're working from home, or maybe you're working from home and so you're not around them. But it does look like it's disappointing, and it looks like they're a great help to you, and so you trying to do this on your own, you're feeling like you may not quite have it covered. You're a little bit worried as far as confidence-wise about getting everything covered while this person is away. And by the way, this person is away just temporarily. This is not a permanent departure that I'm seeing here. Next, let's look at inner work. There is something going on where you're very disappointed and you need to forgive somebody or let something go. And you're very much aware of that as we go through this time frame from the 19th to the 25th. You're very much aware of that, and you are, I think your inner work really is trying to detach enough to forgive or to let this thing go, because I think there's still a lot of emotions around this. So at this point, it's kind of hard to forgive it. I think the inner work is trying to get yourself to the point where you can forgive whatever this is that made you feel so disappointed or negatively. Next, let's look at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as you go through this particular time frame. Interesting stuff coming up here, Pisces. It looks like there's somebody that you've been taking a break from, and this could be a person or a group of people. Ooh, this could even be an idea that you've been taking a break from. An idea that turned out to be a much bigger headache than you originally thought. Okay, so this is either an idea or a person that turned out to be a much bigger headache than you originally thought. That you've been taking a break from. And now you're being given the opportunity to sort of pick up where you left off. And this break has allowed you that time to sort of replenish yourself, regroup, and to ready yourself for picking back up where you left off before. I think it's really interesting how these cards came up, because you can see the person laying there taking the break, and then you can see the Judgment card with the horn right there in his ear. Come on, get up, get up, get up, get up. It's time to get back into the battle. So you are being called to rejoin whatever that was, whether it was an idea or whether it was a person. You're being called to bring that back to life again. La da da da. If it was a relationship, I should say. You're not bringing a person back to life, but maybe a relationship of some kind or an idea of some kind. Okay, next let's look at those things that you stand for. Okay, Pisces, it looks to me like you have a gift that you want to pass on to your children or to somebody's children. Maybe you just want to pass on a legacy. Definitely there's something going on here where you want to pass on some sense of wholeness and abundance. I do think that you want to pass on a legacy to somebody else, to a younger generation. And it looks to me like somebody has actually said something to you about this and sort of criticized you a little bit or confronted you about this. Like, why do you want to do that? Those aren't your kids. Those are just your nieces and nephews, or whatever it is that's going on here. Or those kids are too young to know what you're doing for them. Or, you know, there's some kind of confrontation happening here, and you're just standing up for the idea that, no, I would like to be able to pass on a really nice legacy for them. Now, how the other person views you, they see you as somebody who's very sharp, who's very on it, and that you are able to take care of things very quickly whenever you want to. They also see you as taking a rash action right now, which we kind of saw with the idea that they are confronting you on this. And it looks to me like they're seeing you as somebody who doesn't really know how to have happiness. That's their view of you. You know, I'm not so sure we care what other people think of us. I think maybe we should take that part out of the reading. Not just because I don't necessarily agree with them, but how much do we care? Like, how much do we want to let that impact our opinions of the situation that we're going through? Maybe we should put something else in that space in the reading. I would love to hear your feedback on that. I asked Aquarius for feedback on that too. La da da da. Next thing that we're looking at is going to be that thing that happens during this time frame, which sort of turns things in a different direction from what it was going. Hmm. There's some kind of situation happening that you really have to decide if you want to keep it going or not. And this is something that you started as a leap of faith, not knowing where it would end up. And it looks like you've gotten to a crossroads with this thing where you had to decide, okay, do I want to keep this going or has it served its purpose? Looks to me like you're deciding to keep this going. And this does have to do with letting somebody know how you feel about them. I think part of keeping whatever this is going, part of that has to do with letting somebody know how you really feel about them and being really open and honest with that. And I think this is a really interesting thing, Pisces, because I think you're making a very logical choice to keep this going, and you're making a very logical choice to let this person know what you really think of them. And I think you're going to be very honest with them about what you think of them, for the good or for the bad. Okay. And then let's look at what happens as you're going through this, as you're letting that person know and as you're deciding to move forward. And you're letting that person know what you really think of them. What else is happening? There is something that you're bringing to an end here, and you're bringing it to an end because your intuition is telling you that it's over. It's interesting because it's not what we were looking at before, this thing that you started as a leap of faith, that you need to let somebody know how you feel about them to keep it moving forward. It's not the same thing. Because that you are keeping forward, and this simultaneously you're ending something else, and you're ending this other thing because it feels right. It feels like the thing to do, and honestly it doesn't really feel like you have a lot of choice here. Like this is the only option that is a good option, is to end this other thing. Wonder what that is. Okay, Pisces, what else is going on at the same time? You're definitely adulting. We see you picking up some responsibilities here that you're not the happiest camper to pick these responsibilities up, but I feel like you know that it needs to be done. And I think that picking up these responsibilities and handling them, taking care of them, really keeps the wolves at bay, sort of, so to speak. I think that it would be really easy for there to be a big shakeup in your life if you did not pick up these responsibilities. And so even though you're not so happy about doing that, I think you're picking those up just because you don't want everything just completely shaken up right now. La da da. What's happening once we get to the end of the week? Okay, so even though you're picking up these responsibilities and you're adulting and you're ending this other thing that feels like it really needs to be ended, and you're continuing on with this thing that's been going on for a while, and you're letting this person know how you feel as you make that logical decision to do that, once we get to the end of the week, things are not going so well here. It looks like you are putting up boundaries. There are people that are coming at you, you know, really trying to knock you off of this idea of continuing on with whatever it is that you want to keep going with. And I think that there are some things that you are trying to actually keep secret right now because you just don't want to have to defend those things from other people. You want to be able to move forward with these things. And I think you're feeling like if you don't keep them secret, then you're going to have people around you just knock them down or tear them down before they even get off the ground. So towards the end of the week, you're definitely keeping some secrets. Some things are not going very smoothly. And you are really having to defend yourself or defend your territory as you move forward. That's definitely an interesting time frame. I'm going to take a break and I'll come back in a little while and we'll put together the last part of this month for you, Pisces. I hope that you find this really helpful for you, this new format. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, Pisces, we are back for the last time frame showing up for you for July. This is going to be July 26th through the 31st. Let's see what y'all come up with. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. Okay, Pisces, your cards are down. Let's see what's coming up about your environment for the time frame from the 26th through the 31st. It does look like you are spending a lot of money on your environment during that time. Yeah, it looks to me like you're fixing something. There's some kind of maintenance, some kind of energy or money that's being expended on maintenance in the environment. Yep. And I do think it's going to take a little bit of time to have whatever this is fixed. And so there is going to be some time where you're sort of making do until whatever this is that you're paying for is actually finished and accomplished. All right. That's the first thing that we looked at. Next, let's take a peek at your subconscious leanings. Whew, okay, Pisces. There's definitely somebody that you're thinking about in your subconsciousness, and this is somebody who normally is very logical. They can come across as being very cold. They have some kind of toxic behaviors, or else you combined with them are very toxic. And in your subconscious mind, you're working out, how do I leave this situation behind with this person? How do I get away from this situation without causing a huge ruckus or a huge bit of drama? So that's what your subconscious mind is working on. All right. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. There is a lot of confusion around some information that you're trying to find. It just looks like there's a lot of smoke being blown, really, honestly. You are finding some of the information that you're looking for, but there's a whole lot of holes and a whole lot of gaps that just haven't been filled yet. Communication style also is very confused, and part of that is because of the confusion that is coming at you. I mean, somebody is really seriously blowing smoke up your butt, and that's making it really hard for you to be doing anything very clearly. I think that you want to cut the confusion. You want to be able to move forward in a very productive way and feel like you're making an educated decision moving forward, but with all this confusion, I have a hard time seeing that happening. There is some communication, though, that talks about how you can clear the how you can clear the confusion. You may be talking to a friend about, you know what, if I did this, I bet you I could find out the real scoop here. So there's some kind of, I think you're talking to somebody and you're putting together a plan with somebody about finding all the information that you actually need around this situation so that you can move forward with it in a way that seems appropriate. Okay? Now, next we're looking at work. Work during the 26th to the 31st. I do feel like you're feeling pretty inspired about the work that you're doing, and it looks like the pay is decent. You're doing something, though, that well, no, I'm not even going to say that. I think there is somebody around you at work that is from your past that you don't exactly trust so much. But honestly, with the way pay is working out to be decent and the way you are looking like you're really inspired about something you're doing, I think that this person is in your sphere of influence, but I don't think you're paying that much attention to them. I don't see them as really affecting too much of actually what you're doing. They're just kind of off in the peripheral, to be honest with you. Now, as far as inner work, you recognize that in the past you didn't require people, friends, lovers, etc., family members, to really participate fully in a two-way relationship with you. You've always been the giver. You've always been the doer, Pisces. And you're starting to realize that that cheats other people out of some experiences by you always being the doer and the giver. And it cheats you out of some experiences. And so you are starting to work on a plan about how you can have more reciprocal relationships without your own blockages getting in the way. Very cool. Very cool thing to work on. Alrighty. Next thing we're looking at is what part of your personality is growing or expanding right now. Ooh, look at this. So you're realizing that there's something that used to make you happy that no longer makes you happy anymore. Could be that toxic person we saw earlier in your subconscious. And you are actually growing or expanding in the idea of, you know what, I'm perfectly fine on my own. I'm perfectly fine by myself. That actually gives me the best way to get a good perspective on things and get a grip. And you are actually finding yourself in your happiest space as you're alone, as you're thinking things through at some point during the 26th through the 31st. And that's where you're growing. You're growing and expanding in this idea that, you know what, I can actually feel pretty happy and satisfied all by myself whenever things aren't going well with me and another person. Okay? I know that seems kind of cray-cray, but that's what comes up. I mean, I'm kind of like that, but most people that I talk to about that type of stuff, they're like, no, I don't want to be alone. This shows you being very happy being alone. All right, next thing that we're looking at is those things that you stand for. Okay, so Pisces, it looks like something has come back from the past. Something or some person, some opportunity, something has come back from the past. And whenever it came back from the past, you were not thrilled about it. This thing is actually something that caused you a lot of tension or a lot of unease over a period of time in the past. So of course, whenever it shows back up, you're not happy about it. And you are you're keeping it in the past. Like you're making the choice of, yeah, that's nice that this is a new opportunity, but this is one of those opportunities I would rather keep in the rearview mirror. Okay, I don't want to make this part of my present. And I think somebody has said something to you about this. They've confronted you about this. Like, you know, this is a good opportunity. Why aren't you taking it? Well, because it's very tense and it made me miserable and I don't want to be tense and miserable. I think that's what you're saying, basically, in a nutshell. Now, how this other person sees you is they see you as having lots and lots of options and that there are lots of things that you actually like to do in life and they see you as being paid well. So this has to do with career, really. This option that came up that you're like, no, thank you very much, been there, done that. I think this option has to do with, well, it could have to do with love too. It could go either way with these cards. But they're seeing you as somebody who has lots of options and that you basically, you manifest those things that you want. Whether it's career or whether it's love, it could be either way. But they see you as being perfectly capable and having plenty of options to choose from. All right, next we are going to look at that experience during this time frame, which sort of switches the direction of things that are happening. So let's take a peek, shall we? Okay. This kind of looks like a continuation of what we just saw. First of all, I see that your self-confidence, your self-esteem is up. You're doing really good with your self-confidence and self-esteem, and I think that's kind of been a struggle for a while. Just the fact that it shows up here tells me that it's been a struggle for a while. It's notable that you have good self-confidence and self-esteem at this particular time. And you are making a lifestyle change, and you're doing it in a very strong way from a position of strength. And that lifestyle change is that you're not putting energy or effort into this thing that we just saw. I think that you are, your experience that changes the directions of things, I don't think it's changing the direction so much this time around. I think it's just reinforcing that, you know what, no, I'm not going to pick that up and move forward with it again. La da da da. What else is going on simultaneously? You do have somebody who is trying to pursue you, trying to woo you, whether this is somebody who's interested in you romantically, whether this is somebody that wants you to be a vendor or a partner or a client. There is definitely somebody who is trying to bring you into their sphere of influence in a more heavy-duty way. What's interesting, though, is even as they're trying to woo you and as they're trying to draw you in, they're not being completely open with you. And I think that you're realizing that. And I think that as they're trying to woo you, what you see more strongly than their kind gestures is you see this idea that something's being held back. Like, that's kind of suspicious. What's going on here? What are you actually holding back or keeping from me as you're trying to draw me in? Okay, you're a water sign. You're going to notice this type of stuff. We do that. Excuse me. Good thing we're socially distanced, huh? La da da da. What else is going on at the same time? So there's a lot of indecision coming up at the same time. So you've got the self-confidence, you've got the self-esteem to do whatever it is that you want to do. You don't want to move forward with a situation, and part of the reason why you don't want to move forward is because you're not sure what this person's holding back. There is a little bit of confusion, though. I think you're thinking about the idea of moving forward with them. You're thinking maybe this would be, something that would be very successful for both of us. If this is a business thing, maybe this would be beneficial financially for both of us. If it's a personal thing, you're thinking maybe it could work. But at the same time, there is confusion there. So you're not thinking strongly that yes, it could. And in fact, you're thinking a lot more strongly at the same time that no, it couldn't. So there is a little bit of torment there. We kind of saw Aquarius was going through a turmoil of the same thing where they had a lot of mixed feelings about something as well. So this isn't as strong of a chaos as what Aquarius showed up with, but definitely there is a little bit of a chaos here around this decision. But I think that, you are really trying to stay logical in this, and I think that you're going to continue to be logical in this. I don't think that, even with this confusion, I don't really see you actually moving forward. There's just too much that's iffy here. Now, let's see. Let's see what this says at the end of the week. What do we find going on here? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're cutting somebody out. You're not even communicating with them. You're not communicating with them. You're not putting energy and effort into moving forward with them. No, you see this person as somebody who is not good partner material, whether it's romantic partner, business partner, whatever. You're seeing them as not good partner material at all, and you're just basically backing off. You're not having anything to do with this person. Okay? All right, so that's your month, Pisces. Good for you. Thank you for stopping by and spending so much of your precious time with me. I know these videos are a little bit longer. I'm hoping that because they are and because I'm going more in depth that you guys are getting more usable information out of these. Obviously, you may want to come back and check out some of these time frames a little bit later on in the month as the month progresses on. Perfectly welcome to do that. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for all the thumbs ups that you guys are putting on these videos and for sharing these videos with other people that they would be helpful for as well. Of course, thank you to all my subscribers who keep coming back and to the new subscribers. And then last but not least, thank you to all of those of you who are booking private readings with me. I do appreciate that. That is like the most fun thing ever for me. So thank you very much. I appreciate all you guys' support at every level, because it is because of you guys supporting me that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you here for a private between now and then I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.